I posted pictures on Reddit of my mod where I replaced the default 17-inch 4.3 LCD panel with a 19-inch Insignia NS-19 Echo LED television. And there was a lot of questions people had, and so I thought, you know what? I'll answer those questions with a video. So real quick, I'll give you a quick overview of all the mods I've done, as well as talk about the LED TV. So first up, I've done pretty much what everybody else has done. I've replaced the stock controls with the LED lidded controls. I know there's a debate about that. I've read on Reddit where some people say, hey, that doesn't look good, it's tacky. I personally like it, but hey, each their own, right? I got the home buttons here. Got a USB connection here, so I can hook up my Odroid and rock out some games that need a little bit more Nintendo-like controls. Got some fake insert coin buttons here for when it's time to insert coins. By the way, if anybody of you have these hat buttons and know how to get the LEDs to work, please let me know. I'll swap the cables around and still can't get them to work. It's driving me nuts because I would love for those to light up. So the LED mod. So if you look here, I made a plexiglass. I've completely replaced everything. In fact, the original LED board and plexiglass that came with the unit, I have it all together, put away. I'm thinking about building a bar top with that. Or if someone needs it, I'll probably maybe sell it. I don't know. Anyway, I didn't want to completely mess things up, so I went ahead and bought all new. So I bought a new board, bought new plexiglass. So for my bezel, it does look different in the pictures I posted on Reddit and in Facebook. I initially had painted it. I put black tape around there to kind of hide it, and I just didn't like it. It drove me nuts. And I was still getting light bleed even though I had tape on there. So went to Walmart and just bought a black poster board, and I just cut it out. And then I found this little Pac-Man sticker on the internet, and I just thought that was cool. So I put that there. So that's the LED. That's how it's mounted here. I think it looks pretty good. It's clean. Let's talk about screen. So I know a lot concerns around, hey, you're swapping out when we go with a 1080p panel, the pictures don't look correct. And this is why I love this project, the bezel project. I just think it gives it a dynamic bezel per game. In fact, I like that particularly since we modded these things to run multiple games. I'm not stuck with the Street Fighter look. I think it's great. In fact, I just love that every time I play a different game, I got a different bezel. Sometimes, so there's instructions too. So I thought that's pretty neat. Another thing I like is that there, prior with the 4:3 screen, I might play some games that required, a wide screen, like say PSP games, and it just didn't look right. And on this, it looks great, and I'll show you that in a minute. So what's powering this is an Odroid XU4. I went with it over the Raspberry Pi because I saw people posting on YouTube and on Reddit that they were running these, and the idea of having perfect Nintendo 64 emulation and Dreamcast emulation running Naomi was really exciting, because initially I thought about just going with the PC so I can run a little bit more of those modern games. So for a little bit, you can get an Android Pi kit. A Raspberry Pi kit for around $50, and I paid $70 for my Odroid, so it's not too bad of a price difference. Plus, I already have a couple of Pi projects. In fact, my last project, it's a Commodore 64, where I an old broken Commodore 64. I took the guts out and put a Raspberry Pi in it, and I run retro computers on here. I run Commodore 64, Atari 800, Apple II GSs, and MX2, MX1, all kinds of the classic games on here. So I already had a Raspberry Pi project, and I thought, I'm just doing Odroid project. So let me show you a couple of games here. So that's Street Fighter. So I'm running a Piggy's 256 gig image. That's one of the negatives about the Odroid, is that the images are more up to date if you're running with the Pi. You know, I'm thinking about actually rolling my own, so I've been messing around with the Thea project and gonna start playing around, see if I can get my own image. But overall, this is a great image. There's a couple of them. I'm running the Arcade1up theme. I think it's awesome. I love the boot screen. It just fits perfectly with this arcade unit. So let me show you some Dreamcast emulation. No, actually, I'm going to show you Naomi. Dreamcast doesn't really work well with the arcade controls. So let's see here. We'll just do Capcom SNK. You can see how well this Odroid just, I mean, it really rocks. A lot of reflection on that plexiglass, unfortunately. Yes, this is an Ansible shirt, not a Anarchy shirt or a Avenger shirt. Big red hat guy here. All right. I mean, this thing just runs it beautifully.
Capcom versus SNK.
So I'm not going to play here. And let me show you what really makes this upgrade just really rock. So let's go over here to a PSP game. You know, it supports you know, the widescreen resolution. I'll load up Castlevania here. And this is what just really just drove it home for me when I loaded this up and just watching how this just looks perfect on the screen.
Vor langer Zeit lebten die Menschen glücklich und zufrieden. Niemand bemerkte den Schatten, der sich langsam über ihnen ausbreitete. Die Dunkelheit trübte ihre Sinne und das Böse brach sich tief in ihre Seelen. Vom Wahnsinn getrieben schmiedeten sie einen Pakt mit dem Teufel.
Alright, so let me show you the inside of this, and I can show you how the monitor's mounted, and show you the Odroid, and talk about other mods I've done so far. So like everybody else, I replaced the stock speakers, and I mounted them back here, and they sound pretty good. I got the amp right here, so I can get to it from behind. I have a HDMI in and HDMI out, so this is actually HDMI out. Prior to this, putting the 1080p monitor in here, I used to output to here and some of those other games that support widescreen. Here's my switcher to switch between internal and external, and then the top one's HDMI input. I watched a guy on YouTube put a switch on the side there, and yeah, I want to do that. Maybe use the Mayflash to translate the controls. That'd be killer. You know, Smash Brothers with arcade stick. So I got an Ethernet cable here. Reason for that is I can't get my Wi-Fi working. I haven't really played around with it much, so got the Ethernet here so I can update it remotely. So here's the inside. So that's my Odroid. Now, I bought the quiet version. They said it didn't get too hot, but I beg to differ. It's a little too hot for my choice, so I went in and just put an old Cooler Master fan I have here, and I also got a fan where the old speakers at on the control board, drawing air in, so it flows in and it flows out over here over the Odroid, and it works pretty well. Got a USB hub right here. So you know, Odroid supports USB 3, and that's a USB 3 hub, and the ports up front are USB 3. So that goes to the two ports up front, as well as drives the the arcade controls up front as well. And here's the TV mount. So when I cut this board, you know, I cut it so tight that, I mean, the LEDs in there nice and tight. I mean, in fact, the tape's on there just to you know, stop light bleed when I was trying to do before I made a bezel. I was actually this was in my shop for a while there too, so there was some paint on it, and when I first booted this thing up, I realized, oh crap, there's paint. So I sat there with rubbing alcohol and scrubbed it for like 30 minutes, and I was scrubbing hard, and that LED didn't move not 1 inch. So I'm pretty confident it's in there. Just using the mounts that came with the Arcade1up to hold it in there. I got all the TV components using plastic risers, just attached to the back of the LED, and that's perfect. You know, it keeps it nice and neat in there, and keeps all the components together. As you can see, some of the cabling's pretty short. Overall, I mean, I'm pretty happy with the way it looks and the way it works. So this button here, if you're curious, well, why does it have the button here? Initially, was powering my Odroid on and off with this, but I actually got the on-off button to work on the arcade from the Arcade1up. So my plan with this is that I plan to buy another small board computer, maybe an Alpha Panda, and so I can do some more modern emulation like Wii or something along those lines, or maybe one of the AMD SBCs that are coming out. I don't want to put a full-blown computer in here, but I wouldn't mind having another brain. That's what's beautiful about having this TV in here, is I have multiple HDMI, so I could switch between the two. And all I gotta do is point my remote in the back here, and I can switch the output. So that's pretty nice. So that's pretty much what I've done so far. You know, my future plans, as you can see, I have you know, marks in here. Unfortunately, I didn't qualify for the free replacement. They want to charge me, so I'm gonna probably build a new control board. I want to get a spinner, so I want to shift things over a little bit, so I could put a spinner in the middle here, so I can do some games that support a spinner. So when I do that, I'll probably then make my own plexi cover, or then I also want to get reskin this with custom graphics, some arcade graphics. There's a classic arcade kit that I really think is awesome, and I would love to put it on here. So that's my mod. So one of the things I definitely want to do too is LED light this up. So I've been watching some videos on getting some ideas from people, and I think I got an idea I'm going to run with on that. So light this up, maybe put a little LED here, not too crazy, just to give it a little bit more light here. I want to see if I can get this volume to work. I know there's a Raspberry Pi mod for that, so I'm going to see if I can port that over to the Odroid. I do have the on-off switch working, which is interesting enough, is I got to go like this with it. There you go. And then click it off like that, and it's off. So the only negative is that I got the USB hub in there, so it's powered and keeps everything on. So that's another thing. I want to find one unified way to turn all this off. Been reading, I know with the Android Pi you could send to an Internet of Things power strip. I'll probably do the same thing with my Odroid here. But anyway, that is my mod. I'm really excited about this. I think the 20-inch TV really brings flair to it. I like the you know, what it does, and you know, when I add a more modern emulation machine in this, I think it's going to be worth it. So if you have any questions, feel free to respond to the video. Other than that, thank you for watching.